For years, the crossover SUV market felt, well, kind of predictable. It was always a race between a few of the same big names. But now, the battle for your driveway has a totally new contender, and the choice is no longer just about gas or hybrid. A completely different kind of challenger has just stepped into the ring.
So if you're out there shopping for a family car this year, you're looking at a choice that is way more interesting than it's ever been. You've got the trusted champions, the cars you see absolutely everywhere, up against the bold electric disruptor that is making everybody, and I mean everybody, take a second look.
Today, we're going to size up 3 key vehicles that really define this new crossroads. You've got the Honda CRV, let's call it the comfortable champion. Then there's the Toyota RAV4, the undisputed reliable ruler. And finally, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the electric disruptor that's here to change the whole game.
Okay, let's start with the reigning champs. I mean, the Honda CRV and the Toyota RAV4 have been at the top of the sales charts for what feels like forever. So what's their secret sauce? What makes millions of people choose them year after year?
Well, when you start digging into what actual owners are saying, 2 very clear personalities emerge. The CRV gets all this praise for its super comfortable, almost upscale ride and its really well thought out interior. The RAV4, on the other hand, it's famous for one thing above all else, that legendary, you just can't kill it reliability.
And this comment from a driver over on Reddit just nails it perfectly. For a lot of folks, the CRV's smoother, quieter ride is the thing that seals the deal. For your day-to-day commute, many people just feel it's a more pleasant, more luxurious place to be.
But then you have the RAV4 buyers, and for them, the appeal is totally different. It is all about that promise of long-term, headache-free ownership. You buy a RAV4 because you expect it to just sail past 200,000 miles with nothing but basic maintenance. And for some, that's a trade-off they are more than willing to make for a drive that's maybe a little less exciting.
And that brings us to the Challenger. Now, this isn't just another crossover trying to muscle in. This is a vehicle that was designed from a clean sheet of paper to be different, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And it is not playing by the same rules as the gas-powered champs.
So here's the crucial thing you have to understand about the Ioniq 5. It wasn't a gas car that they just ripped the engine out of and stuffed with batteries. No, it's built on a dedicated electric platform, something they call EGMP. What does that mean for you? It means a totally flat floor, which opens up a massive amount of interior space and allows for that wild, futuristic design.
All right, so how does this electric Challenger actually stack up against the competition when you put them on paper? Let's put them head to head, because this is where you start to see some really surprising differences.
Okay, look at this. When you compare the Ioniq 5 to a top-of-the-line RAV4 plug-in hybrid, you see some interesting trade-offs. Sure, the RAV4 has a little more horsepower, but check out the pricing. The Ioniq 5 is right there in the same ballpark. And then there's the warranty.
And this right here is one of Hyundai's biggest selling points. You're getting 60 months of comprehensive coverage. That's 5 years, compared to just 36 months from Toyota. That is a huge difference in peace of mind, especially when you're jumping into new technology.
But this might be the real game changer. Thanks to its advanced 800-volt electrical system, the Ioniq 5 can go from a 10% charge all the way to 80% in about 20 minutes. We're talking about a coffee break. That is a direct shot at one of the biggest worries people have about EVs, charge time, and it gives the Ioniq 5 a massive, massive advantage. But of course, no car is perfect, right? The Ioniq 5 has its own quirks. Owners point out some frustrating little things. For example, the door handles. They pop out when the car is unlocked, which is kind of like an advertisement that the car is open. And then there are software glitches, like the car forgetting your favorite braking mode every time you turn it off. Little stuff, but it can be annoying.
Even the super advanced driver assist tech gets some mixed reviews. This owner finds the lane-keeping system feels, well, unnatural. He describes it as avoiding hitting the lines instead of trying to stay in the middle, which makes the car kind of ping-pong down the lane. It's a great reminder that even the most cutting-edge tech can still have its own personality.
So with all these pros and cons on the table, why are so many drivers, and we're talking people coming from brands like Subaru and even Tesla, making the switch to the Ioniq 5? What's the secret ingredient that's winning them over?
This owner, who actually sold a Tesla to get an Ioniq 5, lays it out perfectly. They say it's more luxurious, so much quieter, and just as quick. But here's the kicker.
the traditional cabin controls. For a lot of people, having real, physical buttons for the heat and the radio is a huge relief from having to poke at a touchscreen for absolutely everything.
And there it is again, that feeling of space. It always comes back to that dedicated EV platform. Owners say the inside feels just cavernous, and it constantly surprises passengers who are expecting, a normal crossover interior.
Ultimately, for so many owners, the feeling of the car goes way beyond the spec sheet. It's this unique combination of futuristic style, quiet comfort, and that instant electric punch that makes them say things like this. It's not just that it's a great EV, they're saying it's a great car. Period.
So, what does this all boil down to for someone who's actually in the market for a new car today? Well, the big takeaway is that the entire landscape for family cars has fundamentally changed.
The success of a car like the Ioniq 5 proves the whole market is shifting. The choice isn't just a simple comparison between two gas cars anymore. Now you're forced to ask yourself a much, much bigger question.
For decades, the safe bets were always the CRV and the RAV4. But with cars like the Ioniq 5 offering such a compelling mix of style, tech, and real-world practicality, you have to wonder, is taking that leap into the electric future now the smartest choice you can make for your driveway? It's something to think about.